Have you ever heard the saying in football, you gotta win the turnover battle? Well, as a Tennessee Titans fan in the 2024 season, I heard that so many times after a football game. That's because we turned the ball over so many times. Well, today we're gonna actually see if that statement is in fact true, and we're gonna use the 2024 Tennessee Titans as our case study. Hey everybody, welcome to The Practical Place. My name is Ryan Holguin and I'm a certified project management professional. And if you're familiar with my channel, you know in the past few uploads that I've talked about how to use a bar chart, stacked bar chart, and a pie chart. And now today I want to talk about how to use a line graph. And a line graph is very good whenever you want to look at different trends over the course of time. Whenever it comes to measuring, let's think of sales dollars over the course of a year or month by month, a line graph might be a good tool for you to use whenever you're presenting this data to your leadership. So today, and in all my videos, you know I love football, and so I want to use another example of using NFL statistics, specifically focusing on the 2024 Tennessee Titans and how well or not so well they did this year. Let's take a look at it. All right, so as I said, we're going to be talking about a line graph, and as always, I'm going to be using Smartsheet today, but this should apply to any sort of spreadsheet-based platform that you're going to be using. So as I said, a line graph, a lot of the times it's going to be helpful when you're going to be looking side-by-side comparisons or measuring trends over the course of a time period. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I have my sheet here where I've already plugged my data in, and the two sort of data points I want to be looking at, well, I want to be looking at wins and losses. So I have the different scores over the course of week 1 to week 18 in the 2024 NFL season for the Tennessee Titans. I have that spread out here, and underneath this, as you can see, I have the turnovers. So I have a row for my turnovers and I have a row for the takeaways, meaning when the defense got a turnover for the Titans. So that's a good thing. So obviously to win a game, you want to have more points than the other team. And as the saying goes, you got to win the turnover battle. You want to have more turnovers than you want to have more takeaways than you do turnovers. So I laid my data out here. As you can see, it's spread out just like a line graph. It's going to be spread out to show you a certain snapshot in time, so you can see different trends and different correlations, if you will. So here's my data. I'm going to tab over to my dashboard and I'm going to get started. As always, I'm going to select a chart, add my data, find the sheet I'm looking for here, which is my line graph example. And so the first chart that I want to make, the first line graph, I'm going to be making two in this video and put them next to each other to do my comparisons. The first one I want to do is the points section here. So I want to select all my data here from week 1 to week 18, and you see it defaults to this bar graph, but I want to switch my rows and columns, go to a line graph here. You can start to see it play out here. I'm going to call this points scored week by week. So that's what I'm going to call it. Let me do some formatting real quick. And these are all just preferences, how I'm setting up my charts. However you feel the need, or however your specific situation is, feel free to format it and make it look however you want. This is just how I like to do mine. So I don't want to, I want to scale the data here. I want to fill the line only for the Titans, just because that's the team I'm focusing on here. And so I'm going to do that. I don't want to show my data here, my values. I feel like it's too messy. I don't like that personally, but that's up to you. And I'm going to put my legend at the bottom here, change this black. All right, so I've got my points scored here. You can see week 1 to week 18, it's laid out across time, kind of gives you that snapshot. And you've probably seen a line graph in your lifetime. If you've seen stocks, you look at the trend of stocks, whether it's gone up or down. A lot of the times businesses like to use this if you're reading articles to show a certain duration as far as data goes, and whether it's a number of subscriptions in a certain year that a company's reporting on. A line graph is a pretty popular graph that folks like to use to show this sort of information. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this one, paste it down here. I'm going to rename this one turnovers versus takeaways. And again, my objective here is to answer the question, is the term win the turnover battle correct, at least for the 2024 season of the Tennessee Titans? That's the question I'm seeking out to answer here. So I'm going to do a comparison of the two different data sets here. So I'm going to select my turnover here, turnover data. Okay, it did a couple of changes. Go back to my line graph here, and I forgot, what I want to do here. I don't want two blues here. I'm going to go back up to this chart. I'm going to change the color of my opponent to red for bad or evil. Just kidding. Let's see here. Fill this line. I'm all over the place, so if you need to slow down this video, certainly do that. This isn't necessarily how to actually build the chart or the graph, though I think I like to walk through it in the video just so you can kind of see me work through it. I feel like that's helpful for me, so that's why I leave it in the video for you guys. All right, so turnovers are bad, so I want those to be red. So I want to not fill everything. Apply to all series, not fill this. I want to fill my turnovers. All right, so make a few more adjustments here. All right, my legend at the bottom here. All right, so we're trying to answer the question, you need to win over the turnover battle. Is that statement used in the NFL correct? This is for the 2024 Tennessee Titans, so we're going to see if that statement is true, at least in their case. So we're going to go start here by week 1. So you can see in week 1, the opponent, we lost this game. So let's see if the turnover battle there affects it. So we had more turnovers than we did takeaways. So that is true for week 1. We lost week 2. We had more turnovers than we did takeaways in week 2. So it's true for two weeks there. Week 3, we lost. And what do you know? We have more turnovers than we did takeaways there. Week 4, we actually won this game. They scored 31 points and only 12 for the other team. Remember that Miami game, Monday night game, rainy, it was an ugly game, but they scored 31 points. If you go down here, we actually tied in the turnover battle here. So we didn't have more takeaways than we did turnovers, but we had the same amount. So it actually helped us there in that game, and we won. But that seems like to be an outlier. It seems to be like there was a lot more in that game that happened than just turnovers. I remember, like I said, it was a really rainy day, so it was just a bad, ugly day for football. Week 5, there was a bye. Week 6, we had the same amount of takeaways as we did turnovers, but we barely lost that game. So it was a pretty close game, but they lost it. You see this chart going up here? We started to allow more points, so I wonder if we're going to have more takeaways or turnovers in these. So week 7, 2 turnovers, 0 takeaways. So yeah, that is true there. We had 52 points scored there. That was the Lions. I remember that. And week 8, 4 turnovers and no takeaways. So that is definitely true there. Week 9, we barely won that game, but that's because we had 3 takeaways and only gave over 1 turnover. So it is true in that statement. We won the turnover battle and we won the game. Week 10, we lost that game. And we actually didn't do anything there. No takeaways, no turnovers. So we just lost it flat out. Week 11, we lost and we tied again in the turnover battle. Week 12, we barely won against the Texans, but they did have more takeaways than we did. We had 3 turnovers and they had 2 takeaways. So we squeaked a win out there. So that was some good fortune there for us. Week 13, we lost that one against the Commanders, I believe. And we had more turnovers than we takeaways. That's not good. We had more takeaways in week 14. I don't remember who this was against. Maybe the Jaguars. That was a rainy game as well. That was a bad game. Ugly game. We did have more takeaways though. We just didn't take advantage of that. Let's see. Week 15, 6. This was the Bengals. I remember this. 6 turnovers and 4 takeaways. I mean, you're not going to win a game no matter what, unless you have more, if you get 6 turnovers. What do you know? We lost that game. Week 16, we lost again, and we lost the turnover battle again. We had 3 turnovers and 1 takeaway. Week 17, we lost, and we lost the turnover battle. Week 18, we tied the turnover battle and we lost the game. So in this case, it looks like that statement actually is true. If I'm just doing this anecdotal case study on the Tennessee Titans, again, when using data, you want to make sure you're answering the right questions, you're seeking out the right truth, and you want to let the data interpret that truth for you. You want to let the data speak. You don't want to project things onto the data based on your bias. We all have biases. But if you look here, more often than not, the turnover battle is very critical in wins and losses in the NFL. When the Titans, it seemed like they weren't a good enough team to, even when they tied the turnover battle, they would still lose the game. So they're either not taking advantage of that 1 turnover or the 1 takeaway. They're not holding the offense there. But there's something to that saying. It's not all false. Does that answer the question entirely? I don't know. There's a lot of other factors that happen in football, field position, kick returns, things like that. But at least in this case, hopefully it was helpful for you to see how a line graph can help you see things over the course of time, to kind of see trends and how the team ended up doing. So that's just one example. That's just one case study of how to use a line graph. So there you have it. That is just one example of many, many examples out there of when to use a line graph and a use case for you to kind of help you just get to wrap your mind around it if you're unfamiliar with the line graph. Like I said, you've probably seen them before, but this was kind of a way that you learn to lay out your data and a use case and when it's actually practical to be able to use one. So if you found this video helpful, please like it, subscribe here to The Practical Place so you never miss a video when I upload. But until next time, my name is Ryan Holguin, and this is The Practical Place, where project management meets real life.